95.7 KJR. Comedian Greg Fitzsimmons performs at the Parlor in Bellevue tonight. So we're talking to him on a Thursday. He's going to be there at 7:30 p.m. Imagine going out on a Thursday night when you don't get crammed for dinner reservations and traffic's not too bad and you catch a great show at 7:30 p.m. This is the show to see. Greg Fitzsimmons has won 4 daytime Emmys for his work as a writer and producer on The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Frequent guest with some big-time radio names like Howard Stern, like, I guess, us a little bit.
That's pretty much it.
He hosts his own show, Fitz Dog Radio, and was featured on HBO Comedy Showcase. Big-time dude, comedian Greg Fitzsimmons. Welcome to the Bob Rivers Show. How are you, sir?
Well, it's a nice way to get out of bed and then hear some nice things about yourself. It's going to be a great day.
Yeah, it is. Do you wake up every day and try to set the tone for yourself? Do you have some sort of mantra or ritual to get yourself in the right vibe? Do you have a thing like that?
I have. You might as well put down those footsteps, in my house of where I'm going to go. It's toilet, coffee machine, and then there's a spot where I can stare out the window mindlessly for about 7 minutes.
You do have a ritual.
Yeah.
And are there literally footsteps? It's like a worn spot where you stand. How important is that ritual? Does it just make you feel right? Do you drink your coffee and get that little coffee buzz? And do you always say it's going to be a great day? I
don't say anything. I take sleeping pills. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm comatose.
Oh, okay. See, okay.
And the only way I can try to forage for human life is to caffeinate myself. And there's a carpet that I walk down to then check my computer, and it has a brown line down the center of it from constantly dripping coffee. It started with just drops, and they've connected into a straight line.
Nice. But you're very self-aware. You see all of this stuff, but you like the ritual. But you're like most Americans. I mean, look at here. You're talking to us in Seattle. It's the home of Starbucks, right?
Right.
I mean, we are so caffeinated here. We have to, knock ourselves out to go to sleep, wake ourselves up every day, and yet it's a bustling city. Do you spend much time here?
I love Seattle. It's my third favorite city in America, and it just feels like one of those places where I leave saying I could live here, and everyone looks at you and goes, "No, you can't."
Sorry.
You like that the rain is that bad that I really wouldn't be able to handle the rain, but I seem to catch good weather every time I go, and this week is no exception.
Yeah. In fact, we just had our summer drenching, and it's over, and it's going to be beautiful with temperatures in the 80s. You're going to do you now? A lot of comics, they come to town, and it's basically hotel room, sleeping pills, coffee, pretty much what you just described.
8 feet from the bed to the window.
But do you get out and experience some of the Seattle area? I mean, we have beautiful recreation and things like that.
Yeah, I got some good friends in Seattle, so we always do stuff. And this time, I'm actually flying my family up,
Wow.
So that because it's a great city for kids, and so we're going to do the whole thing, go downtown, and then we're going to go take a drive. We're going to take another week and go down to Mount Rainier, and then Portland and the coast. Nice. So it's a big family trip this time.
You flatter us by not just flying. Most comics, when you ask that question, they're like, my show is over at 11 and I'm on a 1 a.m. red eye out of town. That's very nice. And by the way, you also said we're your third favorite city. A lot of cities, like New York, would be insulted by that. But since we're like the 13th largest city in America, that means there's like 10 cities whose ass we kicked that are bigger, right?
Yeah, and the other two.
New York and L.A. Yeah, it has to be right? New York and L.A., right? Because that's where the money is.
No, New York and San Francisco.
Oh, L.A. gets screwed on that. San Francisco is wonderful.
Yeah, I love San Francisco.
But expensive.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, and it's like New York in that, it used to be the coolest, most artistic, interesting people, and because they were broke. And then what happens is it becomes a city that's so popular that only wealthy people live there. And it's like, it's kind of ruined New York, and it's going to, and it's, I don't know if it's ruined San Francisco yet, but it's on its way.
Well, it's funny, Greg, because they just released the wealthiest cities in the world, and the 3 in America that made the cut, New York City, San Francisco, and Houston. And it seems to me if you had that much money, you would leave Houston. I don't know why all these millionaires stick around there.
Well, it's oil, Joe. Has to be oil.
Yeah, but can't you have your oil in Houston and go live in San Francisco or something?
Yeah, no, Houston's unbearable in the summertime. Even like when you see, and not to dump on Cleveland, but if you're LeBron James, and who cares how much money you got? You're going to get an extra few million by living in Cleveland. Like, what price is it? Unless you really have counted out your money and figured out how many jets you're getting, and you keep coming up a little bit short, why would you possibly move to like Cleveland or Cincinnati or, anywhere in Ohio?
It's funny. I guess it's where he's from. It's where he feels comfortable. He's had a home in Northeast Ohio. Yeah, while he's played in Miami.
He gets up every morning in Cleveland and he stands on this linoleum floor right next to the same window and he wears a hole with his shoes.
Although he drinks Dom Perignon and stares out the window.
Yeah, it could be something like that. It's funny.
Right.
No, but I'm with you. I love living here. We're the fastest. So you're going to take a road tour. You're going to enjoy the outdoors with your fam. How old are your kids?
11 and 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, good age. They're not. God, I don't know which words I can say. Can I say do?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Yeah. Spags.
They haven't been demonically possessed yet, like they will be soon.
Yeah, they're just, puberty has it's entered my son's life gently, and my daughter's not there yet, and they want to be with us. And we want to be with them, and it's like that ain't going to last. So we take a lot of trips together.
That's beautiful. Now, here in our state, we've recently legalized recreational marijuana. That's no problem with your kids that age, but there's a thing happening here that's and some of the tourists are interested in that. I assume you're not interested in that.
I dabble.
You dabble?
But, I would because I'm a tourist. But
sure.
what is the prerequisite to actually buy some?
That's the thing, recreation. If you,
it's not. You're doing it.
We're no longer. It's no longer a prescription. It's not like California. It's recreation. Like I haven't had any since 1989, but you can go to a store.
Being 21 with a proper ID from anywhere in the world is the prerequisite. But I got to warn you, Greg, finding any is the tough part.
Yeah,
because they're most of the stores sold out immediately after it went on sale. We're having trouble growing it.
So the easiest way is still the old way, like drive to a bad part of town, pull over, and look like you're looking for something.
Right.
You're telling me it's legal, and I literally will not be able to find a shop that has it.
That's right.
Yeah. The shelves are empty because they didn't license enough growers.
The struggle is real.
Yeah, it's this year's Smoke with Me Elmo. We're out of them. Yeah.
That's the thing about potheads is they have great ideas about, let's legalize pot. They're really good at the grassroots movement, but when it comes to the actual machinations of running a business, they come up a little shy.
Yeah, a little slow. Little gone their way, getting there, get off the couch. Yeah, but in this case, it may not be them. It may be the regulators, Joe.
Yeah, and the growers. When you think about it, Greg, and I don't know how much of a dabbler you are, but I look back in my past, and I always remember summer as being the dry time. I don't know why. Right. I assume it's because the growers probably want to take their kids on a road trip, too. I mean, it's probably you stop growing for a while, but the fall, when the harvest comes, come back and do the parlor in October, and there's going to be shelves full of weed all over this place.
Well, I live in L.A., and I've had a license in the past, and it really is, there is shops every 100 yards in some parts of town. It's crazy.
Might as well be legal.
How are they getting it, and Washington's not?
Well, you can get it medicinally here as well. It's just the recreational, which they've just legalized. And it's funny, if you want to grow recreational pot, they make you get rid of all your medicinal pot. So far, they have not figured out a way to let just a guy grow pot. Sell some for medicine, sell some for recreational.
The weed is here. It's just being held back by the legality right now. It's here.
Got it. Well, do you think if they legalize prostitution that we'll run out?
We would run out.
The whores are here. I assure you.
They'd all need to check up. It's going to take a month.
Come back in the fall. They'll be everywhere.
Greg Fitzsimmons. Greg, I read that your dad was a radio guy. Is that right?
My whole life, yeah, WNEW in New York.
Wow, WNEW. I grew up FM or AM?
AM.
Okay, news guy then, right?
No, it was talk radio. It
Okay.
it was kind of like it is today, but without it wasn't as vitriolic and partisan. It was a little bit more, he talked to, like, the mayor used to call him every day. Mayor Koch would call every single morning, and then he would have he'd play like one or two songs an hour. It was very loose. He kind of did whatever he wanted, and I used to sit there in the studio as a kid and watch him. And at one point, and he'd let me get on the air, and at one point I was like, I guess I was about 11, and I had memorized the first Steve Martin album, and so he wanted me to do some of the Steve Martin albums. So I said, okay, great. I said, when I was a kid, the other cheerleaders didn't. I was a cheerleader. They didn't want to do any of my cheers. Like, try to score a touchdown, you douchebags. He immediately cut. That's why I asked. He immediately cut the commercial, and he's like yelling at me, and I'm like, "What? What did I do?" He's like, "You can't say that on the air." I go, "What is a douchebag?" He's like, "Don't worry about it."
Oh, it was a more polite time in radio. Wow, cool. I'm sure I listened to him, Greg. I grew up in Connecticut listening to New York radio. Greg Fitzsimmons performing at the Parlor in Bellevue tonight, 7:30. Check the show out on Thursday. Friday and Saturday are going to sell out. Check it out tonight, 7:30, or make a reservation for tomorrow, Saturday, 7:30 and 10. Greg, look forward to seeing you in studio sometime. All the best. Enjoy Seattle with your family. We are honored that you have chosen to stay here a while.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.